Good evening, everyone. Time's 6:30. Shortly thereafter, on 10/18 of 2022, this regular meeting of the mayor and council is now called to order. Roll call. All council members are present. Please rise for a pledge of allegiance, followed by an invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Jackson, will you lead?
Heavenly Father, we come to you today thanking you for a wonderful day. Father, we come asking you to come into this meeting like we ask you to become in any meeting that we're having. In your son, Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right. A few announcements this evening. We have Municipal Court, October the 19th at 1 p.m. in the community room. Planning Commission meeting, October the 25th, 6 p.m. also in the community room. Tree Board meeting, October 27th, 6 p.m. in the community room. Our next council work session is November the 3rd at 6:30 here in the community room. Main Street Commission meeting, November the 8th, 8 a.m., Church at the Grove. Okay, I'm sorry, that is the community room. Historic Preservation meeting, November the 8th, 6 p.m., also in the community room. And our next council meeting is not August the 16th as it says on my agenda, so I'll wait patiently on a date for that. November the 15th, our next council meeting, 6:30 p.m. in the community room. All right, moving forward, presentations, employee introduction and recognition. Do we have anyone? We do.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Charles Drew this evening. Charles and his wife Shelby live in Covington. Charles has been in the fire department since 2019, having worked with the city of Covington. Prior to coming here as the city of Covington, I'm sorry, I apologize. Prior to the city of Covington, he worked with DFAX as a caseworker. He's going to be working with us here at Station 6. Fun fact is Charles is getting pretty close to finishing a bachelor's degree in fire service administration. Real early in his fire service career, but has done a lot in a short period of time. So we're real excited to have him and hope he sticks around for a while. So we did tell him he had to make a mandatory speech.
Yeah, you got something to say? You're not shy, are you? All right, well, welcome to Social Circle, sir.
Thank you.
Any others? All right, next up we have Downtown Rundown, Miss Amber.
Good evening. First on my list for rundown tonight is downtown filming. So Sweet Magnolias was back in town today. Filming took place at the Sacred Grounds Corner Cafe, and they'll relocate to the Blue Wheel Inn tomorrow for filming there. And then production will wrap up on tomorrow afternoon, and they'll move out by Thursday. I handed out some flyers before the meeting began. One of those is for Coffee and Conversations. That's our monthly networking event that we have downtown. It's hosted by a different downtown business each month. So this month, the Southern Way Salon will host, and that's located right next door to the Welcome Center. It'll be on Wednesday, October the 26th at 8:30 a.m. Downtown Trick or Treat is Friday, October the 28th from 4 to 6 p.m. This is always a super fun event each year. We currently have 21 businesses signed up to participate. And you don't have to be a business located in downtown to join in on the fun. Businesses like Holder Construction, IMEC, and Master Rack will be setting up in assigned parking spaces to give out candy to. So if you know anyone that's interested in participating, please have them reach out to me. And then the 28th Annual Friendship Festival, of course, we got rescheduled from October the 1st. So October the 29th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., we have 89 vendor spaces that are full. So entertainment will be featured throughout the day, and the local radio station Q92.3 will be broadcasting live from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. that day. We have shirts that are on sale at the Welcome Center for $20 each, and then we'll also sell them on the day of the festival. And then last on my list is Faith in Blue. Chaplain Jones asked me to mention that he'll be hosting the Faith in Blue event in Friendship Park this Thursday, October the 20th, at 4 o'clock. And this event is to show support to our police department and our officers. There'll be local leaders and pastors that will be there to speak and offer prayer for the safety of our officers. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Amber? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have citizens' requests. No one signed up for that. Do we have any council requests? Hearing none, we'll move on to the agenda approval. I don't know of any additions or deletions, so I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, item number 2 on public hearing, the amendment to the general section of the zoning ordinance for delivery violations and citations. Had a conversation with the city attorney a while ago, and that's not going to be ready to be voted on tonight, as we have not had an opportunity to have a conversation with the judge about it yet. So we
Okay.
can table that until the November meeting.
Okay.
I think, was it court tomorrow? I think the intention is to do it tomorrow.
And I emailed him today too, so.
Okay.
Tomorrow as well.
Okay, so council's good with tabling item number 2 under public hearing? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, next up we have a series of public hearings. Before we start those hearings, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the procedure, how we carry on with these meetings tonight. Each one of the public hearings will be, we'll have staff give us a report on that application. I'll open the public hearing. The applicant will have 10 minutes to give us information that he or she has about the application that's before us. After that public hearing, we'll have comments from the floor, those that are in favor of, and then those that are opposed to this these public hearings. Each one of those will be 10 minutes each, including the one for the applicant. That's 10 total minutes for those that are in favor and 10 total minutes for those that are in opposition of. So please limit your comments to 2 minutes unless you have someone to speak. Let us know that someone's here to speak for that entire group, in which case you would have the 10 minutes to have the floor for that application. When you come to the microphone, please give us your name and address, and then you can make your comment. After that, I'll close each one of the public hearings and bring it back to the council for a decision. That being said, our first application tonight is parcel ID SC 0900098A00. It's for 906 South Cherokee. It is a rezone application from AG to general commercial. Ms. Barbara.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Excuse me. We do have an application before you to rezone 906 South Cherokee Road, and it was given this address because it used to have a house on it. Excuse me, I'm going to lose my voice. This 3.5 acres, they would like to rezone from AG to general commercial. The applicant's Ed Merchant. He's the property owner's Terry Holmes. They want to build a gas station, convenience store, retail center, and a space with 2 restaurants. The application is asking to rezone this property to the general commercial zoning to allow this convenience store. The property lies within public right-of-way on all three sides. Now, although this property, although the parkway has industrial zoning up the parkway and commercial development along the portions of Social Circle Parkway, at this intersection, the parkway is surrounded by a significant number of residential homes, and the city future land use map is this one on the top, and it shows that the property is in the neighborhood character area on this portion of the parkway and is residential. Therefore, it would not fit in the general commercial zoning classification. The Planning Corridor Commission held their public meeting last month, and they are recommending with staff to consider a denial of this rezone request due to the residential character area of the neighborhood and not fitting in with the residential area. And this parcel is also a gateway to our city, and we ask for it to be denied.
Thank you, Barbara. Any questions for her? All right.
This is the site, the AG that's pointing to the little 3 acres right there on the corner. And it was divided up in different from the AG that was across the road from Mr. Holmes' property. But as you can see, all the property around this area is zoned AG to your northeast and southeast. In our comprehensive plan, it shows that this is a estate and a more of a state residential agricultural zoning. But as you go up the parkway, as far as our zoning map goes, it goes into O&I commercial, and then as you go further north, it goes into light industrial. This is a diagram of what they proposed to, if it were to be passed, to build an L shape with convenience in the yellow. The 2 light blues are the retail and the 2 pinks are residential. They would have around 75 parking spaces to meet the ordinance. This is a floor plan of the convenience store in the middle and the 2 residential, the 2 retail, and then the 2 restaurants on each end. As you see in the corner right there in the middle, that would be the entrance to the convenience store. And this is just an overhead view of how it would look placed on that lot. In the far west side is South Cherokee, then you've got Laurel Street, and then this front would front the Social Circle Parkway. And this is the view from, and I can't read that, I apologize. It's the view from the south side of the street. And the other one is a view from the
Northwest?
northwest. On the bottom is the northwest side. That one is the southwest side. It is made out of brick, so it does meet the corridor off the building material of this building, though. And I think that's all I have. I don't have any more pictures.
Okay. Thank you, Barbara. If the applicant is here, please come forward. Give us your name and address.
Good evening, council members. My name is David Osborne. I'm an attorney in Covington. My office address is 1108 Monticello Street in Covington. I represent the applicants. I understand that the principal reason for any hesitation for the recommended denial is the neighborhood character of the area, and that being a technical term in the comprehensive plan, that if you look at the definition of that, actually does anticipate some commercial development even in the neighborhood character area of the comprehensive plan. But I understand that whenever a location that's on a major intersection like that first develops, I mean, every piece of property was either, a house or woods at some point. Any major intersection you go by that has developed and is commercial property at some point was just woods or was a house. And so you always have these transitional periods that we go through like this, because given the actual situation on the ground, something's going to go here. on this piece of property because it's just not suitable for residential, especially estate residential. Somebody would have to buy this and build a house right there on probably the busiest intersection in the entire city. I know some of the quotes from people who actually spoke against at the planning commission meeting said that, you know, when they're in their yard, they have to scream to talk because of the noise from 18-wheelers going by on the bypass. No one really, I understand that sometimes neighbors don't want anything built there, but it's just not suitable as residential property. I'm county attorney for Jasper County, and I know one of the big hesitations that the commissioners down there always give is that you give a zoning classification to somebody for a piece of property, you go to the use table and there's a whole list of uses on that use table that they could then turn around and build. That's not my client's intent, and in fact, he's willing to enter into an agreement with the city to limit what he's going to build there to what has been applied for. So I don't think that concern is going to be applicable here. And he's willing to voluntarily do that. You can't make him do that, but he's willing to voluntarily do it. But when you, or if you approve this, you'll be getting a good locally owned, locally run business. If you deny this, at some point, like I said, somebody's going to come there, and it may be Quick Trip, it may be Marathon or something like that, and they're going to come in with a cookie cutter, what they want to do. It's going to be run from out of state somewhere. You won't know the face when you walk in the door. Here, it's not going to be that way. There's not going to be any drive-through restaurants. It's not going to be open 24 hours. You saw on the floor plan the space for retail and restaurants. They're going to try their best to get local people, local businesses to come in there, not franchises and chains. You'll hear from another one of the owners how involved they are in the community. This is not hyperbole on my part. You'll get to hear that and see it. They mentioned earlier the downtown events, the Halloween activities, the Friendship Festival. They'll be part of things like that. They will be as good as you could get here on this corner because it will be something. Something will go there. They're willing to have all these conditions. If you look at that page of conditions, there's a whole slew of them, and we understand why. He's not fighting those because he wants to put something nice on the corner. Ride down, I take my kids every day to the primary school, and I turn on Ron Thor right there at the gas station. If you look at that gas station and look at this, they're not even in the same zip code in terms of how nice the building is, how well it'll be landscaped. They voluntarily decided that they'll pay for a city-designed, large, whatever materials the city wants, sign on the corner there. And they're doing a lot of things that, when you get a major corporation to come in, they're probably not going to want to do. I think that, the reason for the overlay and all these additional protections is everybody kind of knows there will be development there on that corner. That's why those additional protections are there. And of course, my client's going to comply with all that. He is looking, to run this business long term. This is not a flip situation where he's going to buy it, build, and sell. You'll know the people running it when you go in there. And in fact, I'm going to let Mr. Merchant here speak to you for just a minute, and then we'll probably reserve the balance of our time as a response.
Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Ed Merchant, 2118 Sugarstone Court, Lawrenceville. He has covered a lot of things what I was supposed to be saying, but when we started thinking about doing this project, we talked to the director, and she was telling us that it's a highway corridor, is the gateway, and that's the reason we designed something which is not appropriate spending that kind of money to go ahead and do something, but we designed it that way where the community would not be feeling that way that it's just a gas station. We designed it restaurants, but there's no drive-through in those restaurants, and without drive-through, there's not going to be any big franchises coming in. But we decided to go that way, that we will have to have a sit-down restaurants for the locals, And even we'll have to have some local restaurant entrepreneurs from the city come in and leasing it from us. We are ready to go ahead and work if any designs or anything, if you guys feel that it has to be changed, we are ready to go work with the council, with the city to change those, work with them. That's all I have to say. And if any questions, we'll answer those questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant from the council? Thank you, sir. You have a balance of 3 minutes.
Thank you.
All right, public hearing is now open. I'll open to the floor for anybody that's here to speak in favor of this application.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Rich Arrington. I'm a licensed real estate broker here in Georgia. I live at 524 Ansley Lane, Loganville, Georgia. I do want to speak in favor of this. In the state of Georgia, property valuation is based on highest and best use. If you look at this property, it's a triangle-shaped piece of property, as has been pointed out, surrounded by streets. Its highest and best use is definitely not agriculture and definitely not residential. No one will want to build a nice home there and be surrounded by traffic on all sides. The other thing I wanted to say is that if you look at the photos and the design, these gentlemen are willing to spend more than what is required to enhance the city of Social Circle, to make a nice entrance versus just your run-of-the-mill gas station. I believe that this would be a great convenience for the residents of Social Circle, not just for gasoline purchasing, but also for dining. I know I lived here for a year. The number of eating establishments are few and far between. It's very difficult to sit a family down and have a meal. So I believe it would enhance the city of Social Circle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
Hi, Pete Holmes, 2098 Valley Trail, Covington. I've owned this property for a good while. I don't know how many years, probably 15, 20 years. Used to be 24 acres. Bypass come through there was not my choice. I got the little over 3 acres on one side and 14 acres on the other side. I build houses for a living too, and it's not suitable for our house to be built on the 3.8 acres right there. Right now, the property is, it only way you could be used right there is if it was rezoned as commercial property. You know, if the zoning wasn't granted, it would probably cost me roughly $350,000 if it wasn't zoned. But you know, if some reason it don't zone it, if the city or anybody else is willing to pay the price, it's for sale. If they want to control it, it's for sale. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. My name is Mike Hassan Fala. I've been running gas stations on Highway 11 in Social Circle from 30 years. And I live in Social Circle. My address is 264 Payne Crossing. I've been here with my family and my 3 kids. And this gas station, I'm the one going to run it, same like I used to run at the Highway 11. And the hub, the reason we want to build this here is because I live close by. And now before I get retired, I want to get something close to the house and just settle down there till the day I die. And my kids are grown up. My oldest son is a surgeon. My second one is a biotech. My third one just graduated from the UGA. So these kids going to help me at this store. So they said, Dad, get something close so we can run it as a family. So I really appreciate if you consider this as a local person who wants to do business here, live here. And a lot of my neighborhood knows me, churches. When the ice storm was here, me and my sons in the truck on the four-wheeler, I went house to house, got the milk, bread, egg. They still know all the River Cove, all the way, Tessel Hill. Everybody, all my customers know me. And all these ladies, old ladies, grandmothers, and they always has to thank me wherever they see me. They come to the gas station, the grandson drives it. He said, Mama wants to see you, she can't walk. I used to go out from my register, talk to them. And the grandkids tell me the stories, what the grandmother said when he was in the college. Nobody was to take care of her. And said Mike was the one with his son passing milk and eggs. So I'm not going to do this for money. I just want to be here between this, all my neighbors and do something that I always love to do. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? All right. Anyone here wishing to speak in opposition? Please come forward.
My name, excuse me, my name is Stephanie Allman, and I live at 758 South Cherokee Road. So this is just going to be right up the street from my house, and there are several concerns that I have about it. Number one, we do have a quiet community there, and for me and my neighbors, that's the way that we would like to keep it. And many of my neighbors my house was built in 1965, and my neighbors are much older than that. So this has been there forever homes, and many of them are on up in age. We like the quiet community, and we want to keep it that way. And several of the concerns that I have with this being right there is, as it was mentioned earlier, this is the gateway to our city, and I'm not sure this is what we want people to see as they come down the bypass and they are entering our city, is a convenience store with restaurants there. I'm not opposed to growth in our city because our city's come a long way just in my lifetime. I mean, who would have ever thought we would have a Waffle House in the city of Social Circle? So I'm not opposed to the growth. I'm just not sure this is what we need in that particular area. You know, also with increased traffic, with it being the bypass there, we're going to have people that are just passing through, traveling through, and we don't know what kind of crime may come from those people, you know, stopping by. There's lots of crime that happens at convenience stores like that, and so I just feel like it's just doesn't fit together, a convenience store with restaurants and retail space. I mean, me personally, I would love the restaurants and the retail space, but I don't want to go out to eat right next to a convenience store. It's just a personal opinion of mine. So another concern that I have is our city's infrastructure. I mean, that's been a concern for years in the past. I've seen some improvements in the city, but we're not to where we need to be just for the residents ourselves. And if we add something like this there, then I just feel like it's going to cause further problems for the residents who have been here forever. So I just would ask that you just reconsider this. I think there are other places in the city that this would be more suitable for, but not to be the first thing that people see as they enter the city of Social Circle. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name's Robert Shirley. I'm here representing my wife and I, Penny Shirley. We live at 555 Laurel Street, which almost touches this piece of property. I'm just going to read the letter we submitted to the zoning board, you guys. And we've been lifelong residents of Social Circle. Our first home was purchased in 1986 at 779 Cherokee Street, which is across the street from the proposed zoning change. We sold that home in 1994 to build our current home on 555 Laurel Street. This property is now facing Highway 11 bypass, and we have access off Laurel Street. The proposed zoning change is on the corner of our property. This zoning request contradicts the Social Circle Vision Comprehensive Plan that was updated on June the 21st, 2022. The plan has this area classified as neighborhoods character area. We are in opposition of placing a convenience store/retail combination directly in the middle of an area of residential property. If this spot zoning is allowed, it will set a precedent for South Cherokee and Highway 11 to become commercial property. In the rezoning request, project name Social Circle Food Mart, it stated the reason for the request due to the 906 vacant lot not being a desirable residential property due to lack of privacy and vehicle noise. This rezoning would add vehicle noise to the current residents. This 3.3 acre lot is wooded and has natural barriers as privacy. 3 acres provide lots of privacy. Our homes face Highway 11 and we have privacy. And our neighbors face South Cherokee and they have privacy. Laurel Street is a dirt road that is primarily used by 2 homes to access South Cherokee. A house would be ideal off of Laurel Street on this piece of property. It is also used as a walking track for the neighborhood due to no traffic. If this property is rezoned, the current residents will have no privacy. Not only will we have no privacy, but we will have dismissed property value. We will have increased traffic, noise, and light pollution. It will become another gas station / strip mall. The current residents will have the view of the backside, which includes trash and alley debris, restaurant trash with rodents. Is this the image that the residents of Georgia's greatest little town wants? This will be an entrance to our hometown. The Social Circle Comprehensive Plan reads, surrounded by a rural countryside, each gateway into the city provides a sense of arrival. Colorful landscape signage indicates residents' pride in the community. This image will not be captured with the Social Circle Food Mart sign.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else to speak in opposition?
Good evening. My name is Carol Royer. I live at 1246 Social Circle Parkway now. I used to live on Laurel Street, but it's diminished. So we've already discussed extra traffic, more lights, more sound in a residential area. Because we are 5 or 10 acres each does not make us not a residential area. The 8 to 10 homes that this will confront is something that we, as a neighborhood, I think we stand opposed to. I don't think you would put something like a gas station and retail stores and restaurants in a neighborhood like on the corner of Laurel Oaks or the corner of Windsong, and I don't really understand why we need to have it on our corner. We have 3 restaurants, I mean 3 gas stations, 3 convenience stores in Social Circle. We have one on the way between here and I-20. And I just don't understand that there's a need for this. As a nurse for 45 years, I used to be on some planning boards for increasing the size of a hospital or for different clinics, and you always had to have a certificate of need. I know you don't have to have that here, but again, I question, is this something that we need? Worrying about whether this could be is always going to be a commercial site, which the lawyer brought up tonight. I would like to say that maybe this would be an appropriate place for a city park with benches and trees and a really nice sign so that you see that as you come into Social Circle, not just one more business. And the last thing I want to say again is once you change the zoning here, then Mr. Holmes mentioned he has 14 acres right across Social Circle Road, right across the parkway, and I'm sure he'll be wanting to change that to commercial also. So I would please ask you to oppose this change of zoning. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. There is a balance of a little over 2 minutes if anyone else would like to speak in opposition.
My name is Angel Spikes. I live at 864 South Cherokee Road, which is directly adjacent to where this would go. I don't want to repeat what anybody has already said, but I do agree with everybody that's in opposition. And I want to add that my 2 little boys play in my backyard every single afternoon. And to have this put in my backyard, which is the house I grew up in, I have lived in this house for 36 years, to have to worry about my kids going in the backyard because I don't know who's across the street and who's going to be out there at night or whatever. I just can't even fathom this being right beside my property. I mean, it makes me tear up just even thinking about that being right there. And I don't want to have to move. I've been a member of this community my whole life. I taught at Social Circle Middle School. My kids go to school here. But if that goes in next door, we'll have to put a for sale sign up, and I don't want to have to do that. So please take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. 1 minute left if anyone else would like to speak.
My name is Mary Orr, and I live at 1249 Social Circle Parkway, so right next to the Shirleys. And I just moved to Social Circle because of the beauty of the city and just like being in awe of all the rural land and all the entryways. And this is not what I would have envisioned. And I would have thought twice because I'm dealing with the parkway and now to do this. And then just that intersection is already so busy with semi trucks that it's going to cause even more traffic. So please deny it.
Thank you. All right, if the applicant you have 3 minutes in reserve if you'd like to come back and speak to some of the comments.
Thank you. And first I would want to say I understand where a lot of the neighborhood residents who are here speaking are coming from. And this was not something Mr. Holmes planned. I mean, he, is not in charge of DOT and having them come decide where to put the parkway and to put it right in front of his house like that. But we have to deal with the property as it sits in reality, not as it used to be, not even sometimes as we hope for it to be, but as it is. And I mean, somebody just mentioned how busy the intersection already is. That just goes to show you it's not really proper residential property anymore. Did it used to be? I'm sure it did. Back when this zoning was originally conceived, when most of these houses right there were built further down Cherokee, I mean, they've been there forever. My whole life. I grew up in Covington. It's been that way forever, but there's been a significant change on the ground that you heard them all allude to, about the traffic and the noise, but that's exactly why this should not be a single-family residential property anymore, exactly for the reasons they were giving you. I think the term gateway to the city and the entrance to our hometown and all that, those are not legal terms. That's kind of good for ideas and things like that, but if that doesn't match the reality on the ground, you have to deal with it as it is. And as a practical matter, it's simply not residential property anymore. And not because of anybody's planning, I guess, other than somebody, a project manager at GDOT, but no one in the neighborhood there, including Mr. Holmes, planned for this. It was kind of foisted upon you. And I'm sure, as your attorney would confirm, the majority of the points made and the complaints made and the fears expressed are not things, that are really proper for you to consider in a zoning decision. And I would just like to reiterate that, in my opinion, something is going to get put there either now or in the future, and you've got a good business that's going to invest in the community, be locally run. If you take this opportunity, as opposed to rolling the dice, and in the future, you don't know who's going to go in there. And in terms of it being a park or something like that, I'm sure Mr. Holmes, if the city's willing to pay market price, will sell it to the city and have a park there. I'm sure he's happy to do that. But I just think that the market price is high because it's commercial property. It's on the intersection. They're willing to pay commercial prices for it. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. All right, at this time, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the council for discussion and a decision.
I'll make a motion to follow the planning and zoning corridors recommendation and deny the rezone request.
Second that motion.
We have a motion from Councilmember Boyd and a second from Councilmember Jackson to deny this application. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, our second item, I'll take a motion to table that until our next council meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Susan, did you get who made the first and second? Okay. All right. Public hearing item number 3, an amendment to zoning ordinance section 1106, which is the definition of commercial vehicles parking in front yards. Who's presenting?
Chief Zarell's going to be presenting this one. Actually originated from some of the things that he saw in code enforcement. So we'll take charge of this one.
Okay.
Good evening. I'll keep it pretty short. Section 1106, this is amendment is to section 1106 of our zoning ordinance, which applies to commercial vehicle parking requirements. What we'd like to do with this is update the ordinance to current zoning classifications. While doing that, we will remove the AG. As I read this, I thought we were removing AG and AG2, but as I reread it today, it only removed AG. What this does is we've had some complaints and we were following up on code enforcement. And as we got into them, we realized that this original ordinance was put in place in it was put in place in 2017. 3 months later, we updated the zoning ordinance and we changed the classifications, no longer carrying an R15 and added an RMD and an RHD, residential medium density, residential high density. However, this ordinance, we didn't go back and catch this ordinance. So as we've had some complaints, we started following up on a few things. We realized that location was in Dove Landing. They had a semi-truck parking every night. Well, we couldn't make them move the truck because the subdivision itself is RMD. So it was outside outside what this ordinance covered, and we couldn't do anything with enforcement. So that got us looking, and that's where we come to with this. A secondary case we had, the fellow asked us about what defined a commercial vehicle, and that's when we realized that there was no definitions as to what a commercial vehicle was in our ordinance either. So we went back and we added some definitions to a commercial vehicle. We also added definitions and diagrams that showed what a front and a side yard was. And these definitions will get to carry over into other ordinances in planning and zoning and help us establish where people can and cannot park either vehicles, trailers, boats, campers. It actually covers quite a number of things. But that is the section 1106. Is there any questions over 1106 or what we're trying to update on this?
Any questions for Ken?
I'm going to do these individually as public hearings.
Thank you, sir. Tyson.
Because we're changing this, if we vote to change this, whoever's parking their vehicle in Dove Landing, we should give them a courtesy notice because right now they're complying with the ordinance that was already there.
That is correct. What we have been doing is we've made ordinance changes is we've knocked on those doors personally, spoke with those folks, and then gave them at least a 30-day window of opportunity to come into compliance before any notices or any further code enforcement action was taken.
Thank you, Ken. I'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone here to speak in favor. Seeing none, anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council for a decision.
Motion to accept the recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion from Steve Shelton, a second from Tyson Jackson. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Our last public hearing item, item number 4, is to an amendment to the zoning ordinance, section 1107, which is recreation vehicles, front yards, to clarify the ordinance.
Again, thank y'all. I should have mentioned as well, and I will do on this, that we did receive recommendation from planning and zoning to approve both at the last month's meeting. This amendment is to section 1107, which includes parking and storage of recreational vehicles, equipment and trailers. This ordinance too carries on with the other and updates the ordinance to current zoning classification and does remove the AG and AG2 in this one. This does place all parking and storage requirements for all recreational vehicles, equipment and trailers under one ordinance. Currently, if you look through our zoning ordinance, landscape trailers are in one ordinance. Horse trailers and cattle trailers are in a separate ordinance. RVs are in one ordinance. Jet skis are in an ordinance. What this does do is bring everything into one location, make it easier for people to understand and clarify. I think as I mentioned in our work session, if it's not very clear for the code enforcement officer, it can't be very clear for the people that's expected to understand, to follow it as well. So we're trying to just do some clarification, get it all brought into one spot. The other thing this ordinance does is it changes the current parking restriction. Currently under the recreational vehicles, boats, jet skis, campers, that type thing, the restriction is 24 hours if it's not behind on the side or behind a residence. We felt like that was a little restrictive. After speaking with the Planning Commission Chairman, Ms. Barber in the Planning Office and the City Attorney, we've decided to back that. We feel like it should be backed up to 72 hours, be a little less restrictive on the residents, give them a little more time, especially as we've heard the case last month where people have to store recreational vehicles and stuff off-site. This gives them a little time to pick that equipment up, bring it, get it prepped for whatever they're going to do for their vacation or their weekend, and get it back to a proper storage location without being so timely. This ordinance as well adds definitions and diagrams for clarity of the ordinance, and I put just a few of them on a page, but we can go to the next slide, sir. We show different trailers with campers, utility trailers, open trailers. We tried to take the guessing out of it and put more diagrams and more pictures in there so it was clear for people to understand. Is there any questions for the changes on this one? Concerns?
Thank you, Ken. All right, I'll open the public hearing, see if there's anyone here to speak in favor of this application. Anyone here to speak in opposition of this application? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council.
Make a motion to accept the recommendation of the planning commission.
Second.
A motion from Steve, second from Nathan. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, next up we have the consent agenda. Mr. Taylor, will you guide us through that, please?
So, Mr. Mayor, we have 9 items on the consent agenda this evening. The first item is the minutes of the Mayor and Council work session of September the 28th of 2022. The second item is the minutes of the Mayor and Council called meeting that was also held on September 28th, 2022. Item number 3 is the executive session minutes from September 28th, 2022. Item number 4 is the minutes of the Mayor and Council work session that was held on October 6th. And then item number 5 is approval of the executive session minutes that was also held on October 6th, 2022. Item number 6 is consideration of the write-off of 2015 uncollectible property taxes for city and school. Despite all our best efforts, these are not collectible. And so this is all personal property taxes totaling $323.46. And so that's that to be approval to be written off officially off the books. Consideration of year-end encumbrances. This is a bookkeeping issue. Not budget amendments, but we had some projects, purchases that were in process at the end of the fiscal year that were not completed. And so this basically rolls over those funds into this fiscal year, process spend those funds out of this fiscal year. Item number 8 is consideration of award to a bid award to pave Memorial Drive. This will go to MHP paving in the amount of $33,596.04. And then once that repairs, that's for the deep patch side of this. Once that repair is completed, Walton County will perform the asphalt overlay at a cost of material of approximately $34,000. That's coming out of OMIC funds. And then item number 9 is authorization for repair of roads from the 2020 CDBG Millville Sewer Project. This was amend the budget by $150,000 to allocate funds out of water and sewer fund balance to this project to allow for the paving of roads that were dug up as part of that project. Recommend approval.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Trace, a second from Steve. Any further discussion?
This discussion about the MHP paving, we usually ask for like all bids, but they're the only bid that we have.
Yeah.
That was done through the Walton County where they already bid it out.
So let's do Walton, that's nothing to do with that.
So public bidding processes allows you to piggyback on other public contracts, and this was one of those. So Walton County already has a contract with MHP for this type of material.
Well, they'd already bid it, had to rebid.
Right. They did it, I don't know when they did it, but they did it sometime. They went through that process. And so legally, anybody can piggyback off that and get the same rate that they got.
And that's their SDS. All right,
No, that's purchasing contract. What you're talking about is the actual laying of the road. That's different. That's the rest, yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next up, we have unfinished business, 566 North Cherokee Road, conditional use zoning. I'll entertain a motion to table that until our November meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Tyson, second from Steve. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. New business. Item number 1, consideration to declare Annie P. Henderson Drive one-way traffic flow from Oak Drive to the intersection of Annie P. Henderson to Annie P. Henderson Drive intersection only when school is in session.
Yeah, so I'll be real quick on this. It's very simple. There's currently a traffic flow procedure that's in place for drop-off and pick-up times at the primary school. It's never been codified in the city regulation, and so therefore it's kind of confusing when somebody gets called out on it because they can say, well, I didn't know that this was a one-way street at the time. So what we are recommending is that we actually officially declare this street a one-way street at school pick-up and drop-off times when school is in session. Recommend approval.
With the appropriate signage.
With appropriate
placed on it.
signage, yes.
Okay.
The only question I'm gonna have about this is, what about early release day?
Yep. I mean, I think it's implied in it. I mean, I thought about that. I thought about that earlier too. I think that I think some common sense has to be applied to this as well.
No comment.
Common sense. Yeah, I mean, you know, probably 99% of your time is going to be at set pickup and drop-off times. You are going to have the occasional, school lets out early for vacation or weather or what have you. I think the traffic officer is still going to have discretion at that point also.
All right. We'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Take your pick on that one, Susan. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have no other business, but we do have a need for an executive session for litigation. I'll entertain a motion for that. Not real estate. Jay, do you have anything else? Just litigation. If you have something, yes. All right. Executive session for litigation and real estate. Can I get a motion? Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.